3 attempts with optional public administration as my optional, and this was kind of a drastic decision to change subject in my 4th attempt. And my friends who have already studied from here, Ankur Agarwal, so he, Saurabh and Aparajita, some other friends, they have helped me to understand that this can be the subject which can help you to change your fortunes drastically. So I came to Vaids sir, and I started test series with him, and under his guidance I did self-study because time was not so much that I could take full-fledged classes. So with self-study and reading books, I managed this score 307, 150 in paper first and 157 in paper second. So today I would like to thank our Vaids sir and this institute and my friends, those who suggested me at the right time to change the subjects, because this score helped me to not only get into the list but also get a good rank. So here my main purpose, I suggested to sir that I should come and I should talk with you, was to first of all clear some doubts if there are some doubts regarding subject or any other stage. So first I will, if you can, if you want this session to be in question answer, even that is welcome, but if you want me to tell you something first, then I can start stage wise. Here I expect that how many of you have given preliminary this year? Okay.
Half of them. But just before that, I have an insignia for Zaffar. It's a 1 rupee coin. 111 years old. Actually, yesterday market was off and I couldn't do better. The coins I have plenty of British times. Zaffar.
Thank you. So these remains of past are an integral part of anthropology, even if it goes back to 2 years, 120 or even back there. So first of all, I wanted to congratulate those who are expecting call for mains this year. For those who are not much sure or on the borderline, I would say that I was sitting here in August 2015. And my situation was same. In that year, I failed in preliminary, and before that I failed in mains, and before that attempt I failed in interview. So my graph was going down, like I was on downhill. At that time I was thinking like, what will happen now? I have failed at all these stages, so what will happen? So at that time, Vaids sir told very motivating line that those who are failing preliminary this year, you are fortunate because you will get a whole year to prepare for this exam. So that in that 1 year I studied anthropology, did self-study. So regarding books, I will write. Let me start. If I can write books here. If you will go, first of all, I would suggest you to please go through syllabus of anthropology with such an interest that you basically memorize it, so that when you go through any newspaper or any magazine, somewhere you read anything, you just get an idea that this is linked with my syllabus. First thing, if you analyze that, you can divide this syllabus into 4 parts. So paper 1 section 1 and section 2, and paper second section 1 and section 2 broadly. So this is biological anthropology. If we can, in general, biological anthropology. This is socio-cultural, and this is Indian anthropology, and this is tribal India. I tell you regarding books, for those who are getting guidance at this institute, you need not to worry because you would be knowing. For those who are starting from beginning, I studied to get an idea of what the biological anthropology is from B.M. Das. That is written by an anthropologist, so it gives you an idea that what is physical anthropology basically. So B.M. Das, you can write for this B.M. Das. And second book is P. Nath. That is written by a zoologist, though it is very lengthy, and you should not go from cover to cover. You just focus on some areas where you need some kind of insight into a topic. And first go through syllabus. In second, sociocultural, a book by N.K. Vaids sir, that will give you same idea of how to write sociocultural answers. And then there is a book by Majumdar. Though it is an old book, you will go through it and you will see that these kind of institutions in Anthro, tribal India, they may not be existing today. But since anthropology is a study that if we study the past, maybe of 50s, 60s, 70s, what was situation, even then we were able to understand the social, cultural or social structure of any organization or of any tribe. So basically our idea is not to get what is going on currently. Our idea is that how family and other institutions existed when they were existing. For example, that youth dormitory, maybe they are not existing anymore in that sense, but it is written very well. So these two books you would have written, you can go. Regarding Indian anthropology, a book by Nadeem Hasnain, that is a very comprehensive book. You can go cover it, from cover to cover. And regarding tribal India, there is I read same author's book, Nadeem Hasnain's book, and that too you can cover it completely. Plus, for value addition, that high level expert committee in 2013, that committee report. One of my friends suggested that if you have time, you should go thoroughly through it. It was difficult, but if you go, you just go thoroughly through it, but in a quick manner, and only underline those areas where you can quote this. Basically, if they are asking any question on tribal administration, you can cover it from that report, because social organization is not much analyzed in that report, but administration is very well taken. And some direct questions in paper 2 were there from schedules, schedule 5th or 6th and Forest Right Act. And it is very brilliantly analyzed that what are the problems with Forest Right Act and what are the recommendations, and if they will get some suggestions from you, so you can directly quote it from there. So that committee report is very important. You should go thoroughly from there, because you have time. And if I would like to analyze that how much important it is, you can basically, for administration, you can replace this part of this Nadeem Hasnain with this report. I think it is that much important. And then so when these book areas are covered, then I would suggest that after reading these books, you should focus on the language. What is anthropological language? To understand a new subject, I was from public administration, so when I was coming here and writing answers, sir used to repeatedly point it out that this is English words, like if somebody could say that these are sons, here there are offsprings, you can just analyze how the terminology changes. Somebody say parents, here you in biological anthropology you will say these mates. So if you analyze the language, anthropological language, that's why I am suggesting you to go through these books. And one more surety is there, that if they will change, especially in paper 2, some kind of questions, they will make it more dynamic as in next year, you will be able to understand that what they are asking. If you will go only through notes or some kind of notes and you don't go through books, you will see that you will think that this question is not understandable, how will I deal it? So go through these books, and after that, if you think that there are some lacunas, some areas where books are not covering this, you can go through notes. I studied Vaids sir's notes. Other notes are available. If you find you can go through it, there is no limitation, but I followed this plus Vaids sir's notes, where I thought that I need some value additions. And next, I will focus on how to write answers in anthropology. One area, I'm sorry I missed one area which is ignored by most of the students. My friends also ignored, and they later on told me that was the area. That was this anthropological thought. That area is almost missed. It is given in N.K. Vaids sir's book in brief. And I read Makhanja, but later on the book by Makhanja, and later on I did not know about Upadhyay and Pandey book earlier. So later people told me that it was a better book. So you can study from Upadhyay and Pandey, and I would suggest that go through. There are only I think 9 or 10 school of thoughts in anthropology. You should master every school of thought, especially the later ones, like cultural personality school and postmodernism and symbolism and this anthropology. So they ask direct questions. And what was the tricky thing, that in every question of paper 1 means at least out of 3 subparts, this part was definitely linked with anthropological thought. So you could not have ignored that part in this year's this paper. If you should have gone through paper, there was one in every question. Whichever question you choose, you need to have some idea about anthropological thought. So that I would suggest that you go through that. And one more strategically important thing is that when you're writing answers, do not be closed to the closed in a sense that this is paper 2, so what I have studied in paper 2 I will write only that. Don't do that. If you can link paper 1 and paper 2. You have read some anthropological theory, anthropological thought, and you think that it is linked with paper 2, you can quote that theorist. And if you have some case study in paper 2 and you're writing paper 1, you can quote that case study in paper 1 also. So do not compartmentalize that I have studied this for paper 2 or paper 1, whatever you need. And one more thing, that for value additions, if you can put some diagrams, some flow charts, or any schematics where you can express 500 words into one diagram, that is always time saving for you, and also examiner will see that it's some kind of innovative approach. So it will be very scoring. And after that, another important point is, which sir told me at that time, and it was very good input, that was you focus on the structure of answer. For example, there is a question and you are writing good introduction, a body, but you somewhere left conclusion unattended, means you did not write a good conclusion. It will not give a sense of closure to the examiner that this person has done justice to what is asked. So maintain this introduction, body and conclusion format in especially optional papers. Every optional paper at least require this. In conclusion, you have some space in conclusion where you can put some new idea or some suggestion because you have read, and you can use newspapers in this conclusion part when you are suggesting something new. In newspapers, in the Hindu, before national page, there is this south, north, south, east, west page, where you will know that tribal population is concentrated in east area, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. There are some news about tribals, and in Madhya Pradesh also, when there are some news about tribals, you should note down from there. And sir may also be providing you some inputs regarding case studies. So give case studies to make it more dynamic. So I think that can be a value addition. So regarding anthropology, these are some of the points. If you want to ask something, that is always welcome. And regarding interview, so as sir told, let us go from interview stage backwards. I would say that interview is test of your personality, means your approach. They will ask you many questions like, if you are DM of this area and this is the problem, how will you deal with it? So basically they want your approach. And I would say that if I have to sum up what kind of ideology or approach you should have public service orientation in your view. If you are this kind of person that you want to give something back to society and you believe in making changes of how the system goes on, means changes of how people think, socio-cultural change, administrative change. If you want to contribute in developmental aspect, socio-cultural and economic development, then you will go through easily, especially in terms of thinking. But along with that, you need a good communication skill or good expressive power. That I would suggest that you can go through these news channels, or somebody who is giving speeches, or you should go and interact with more and more people. It will help you to just communicate better. Those things. Another thing is that if on that day you are wearing a smile and you're confident, you are already 160 above, I think. Most of my friends, they say that I have given all questions correct, but still they scored 130. But later on when we analyzed, the only thing was that maybe they were apprehensive on that day about their profile, or maybe they were thinking that they went there in preparation mode. Never do that. At all three stages, I would suggest that preliminary, in mains, your preparation should stop at least 2-3 days before your exam. So when you're going to the exam, you just think that it's not test of one of your books. Like in mock, what happens is we just go through the allocated syllabus and then we go and write from there, and at back of our head we're thinking that, okay, I read this. Don't do this. I think it should be taken in an organic manner. Means you study everything, and when you go at every stage, you think that it is test of your life. Means what you have studied, what you can contribute, give your best. And it applies to interview also. So never be apprehensive about what is your profile. Means this is the only exam which even sir told that it gives you so many attempts. Why? Because it is expected that maybe people will not get it through first attempt. The number of attempts given, this has idea that when you are into this business, you should not leave it in between, and you should continue and work hard and be sincere, and you will definitely do it. It's just a matter of time. And whenever you are again organizing, please do not repeat all those things which you've done, if you have done in previous attempt and you have failed. Please change. For example, if I will tell you from my side, I did some big blunders in previous attempts. It was not only public administration, but actually in preliminary I used to attempt only 60-70 questions at that time. Even though CSAT was the main decider, still it was not a good. In the current scheme, if you are not attempting more than 85, I think, or above 80, you are already out of the game. So this is very strategically important. At pre-stage, you attempt more, and there is always scope for intelligent guessing. If nobody knows all those four options, I tell you, they are asking one, means comprehensively all about one topic, all four options. So you would be knowing maybe 2-3 options. I would suggest you to be positive. 4 or 5 questions you will do correctly if you think that if this option I don't know, it may be correct. But mostly what happens is that on that day we are so tense, we think that if this option I have not read, I have not heard about it, so it might be wrong, so we take it wrong. So that way, that cynical attitude, that cost us at least 3-4 questions, and that makes the difference at the end. So I would suggest that think, if it is possible, don't mark it incorrect if it is possible. So before marking it incorrect, you should be sure that it cannot, means when you're sure, only then mark it incorrect. And one more thing which I observed was that when you are reading answer question in preliminary, start exploring those options after a pause. First read that question and then pause for a second and think that what can be the possible answer. Only then go to the exploring options, because if you directly go to these exploring options, you're not yet sure about what was asked, and you are confused. You can say that even first is okay, second is, third is, fourth is, and then 2 minutes you will waste on that, and after that you're not sure. So other questions which you can definitely do, that can be, means you can lose that. These are the things which I found, some of the things regarding preliminary. Another thing is that I think in this exam, if you can remember 3 things like prepare, practice and perform, you can do much better. It's like in preparation, we all know what books to read, how to read. I think preparation part is covered by help from guidance from experts at every stage regarding GS and subjects also. Regarding practice, we lack a little bit. We do not practice much. We do not give mock tests mostly because of time. We think that we do not have time to write, or we will take it later on. So that area you should cover at all 3 stages, like preliminary, mains and interview also. We should give mocks, talk to students, your good friends, learner friends, share ideas. You expose yourself. I would say do not be close in your personality. Expose yourself in front of your good friends, so that they can make judgments on you. only then you will know that there are some problems, then I need to work on this. And then come the performance, last part. That is very important. I told you, before going to exam, take complete rest and enjoy, and go there and give your best. It's like, it's exam. So don't take it that seriously. Do not think about what will the results. I tell you, I never thought that what rank I want to get. It depends on people. Some are more calculative people. I am not that kind of person. My only idea was that this is an exam, and I know if I will not score more than 100 in GS in every paper, it will be a blunder. If I will not score more than 130 or 140 in essay, it's a great miss. And I knew that if I will not score in optional, which I was doing regularly in with previous subject, so I knew that I will not be in the list. So your only focus every day should be that consistently read. You should know that tomorrow this is the thing which I want to read, and read it with consistency. And focus only on your examination, nothing more. Just getting marks, performing good and getting marks. After that, I assure you, you will be in the list, and you will be at very good place in the list. So don't worry about. And in market, every day you will get so much of distraction. Somebody will tell you, come, I will give you guidance, some kind of guidance. Enough is done already. You just follow guidance from some blog, some ideas. If you have some confusion, you ask question to some learned person, and then get to work directly. Don't waste much of your times on online blogs, and you go through the market and you will see that there is sea of this information outside, and you will be so much confused. Regarding one thing, I tell you, in approach there is also difference, sir. Like in preliminary, if you know more and more things, even if superficially, it can help you to do all those factual questions at least. Even though conceptual questions are also in thinking based, but in mains, you decide your boundary, that this is the boundary where I want to study this material, and I will stick to this only, and do it in a thorough, in a deeper manner. Means if you know something, for example, in IR, you know about India-US relationship. If you know deeply and there will be a question, whatever angle they ask, you will be able to write it. And if you have gone for India-US relation, you have gone through 3 big books for India-US relationship. There is no meaning in it, unless you are from PSI or political science, that optional subject. So I would say that you must know that, for example, paper 2 and paper 3 of GS, it can be easily covered from newspapers and one monthly, maybe Vision IS monthly compilation, one, that is your choice. And I found that very, very well written. Means they cover it, nothing more than that. And in GS paper wise, I will tell you, GS1 is conventional. So most of the things will be covered from good books. You know the books. I have written a post, I will mail through sir to every one of you for all these subjects, for these papers. But the application part, they are asking application part of GS1 also. Like, if without Mahatma Gandhi, what would be the destiny of our national freedom struggle? So you know Mahatma Gandhi, you know his ideology, everything. But if you just directly write about that, they will not give you marks. That is not the question. So my idea is that you look at the question in mains, you underline it. What are the key aspects of this question? And you structure as per the demand of the question, and you stick to it. And time management is a big part, because in earlier attempts, my biggest blunder was time mismanagement. Because at that time I knew, or somebody told me, that if you do 13, 14 questions with depth and with in proper manner, you can score more. But that was not a good strategy, I realized this time. So this time, regarding this time management, what I did was, I thought that I must be completing at least 7 questions in 1 hour. So in first hour, I should be at least at 7th question. So I did not read question thoroughly first. I directly started attempting first question, second, third. So I set a buzzer of at 30 minutes. So by 30 minutes, you should be at least done with 3 questions. So in this manner, whatever question you know, you attempt it. If you do not know anything, not even a single word, only leave that question. Otherwise, if you know 50 words, attempt it right there, and then shift to the next question. I think it has a quantitative analysis. You know that at what point in those 3 hours you are where you are standing, and then you can accordingly speed up and manage this. It happens in optional also. In optional, what I felt was in paper 1, while looking at the means at first sight I knew question 1 and question 5 compulsory. I knew every part of those 2 questions. So first, this is what I observed, that if you write first question in optional in a very well manner, I think almost 50% of the things are done for you, because that guy who is checking this paper, he would know, he will judge you by those 5 questions only. So I would suggest that if you know, you should first attempt with in a cool manner that first question and 5th question, and then attempt other questions, and don't leave any question. And in first 5 minutes your idea should be, you should choose what questions you should attempt. Because if you directly, I am talking about optional paper, if you directly start from first onwards like GS, it will be a blunder. You know why? Because when you're in middle of answer writing, you are under pressure. So at that time it will be very difficult for you to make a good decision that which question I should attempt. So in optional paper, especially anthropology or for any other optional, you can devote first 5 minutes to make a decision that what 3 other questions you are going to attempt. What I personally felt in paper 1 was that I was not much confident in physical anthropology, I tell you frankly, but still I knew that it is more scoring. Maybe I felt it that it is more scoring. So 2 parts I did from physical and 1 from socio-cultural in paper 1. In paper 2, I did not have any of this idea that which is scoring. Whichever question I felt that I can do justice to, I chose those questions. But first 5 minutes, you choose those questions, and then you start writing from those compulsory questions. That is what I did, and then you complete the paper at any cost. And in paper 1, you must include diagrams, especially if they are talking about skeleton or some fossils. You include diagram. And if they are asking a question regarding, for example, any fossil, there are something expected in your answers. For example, there is a fossil. What is the date? You can means these things. What is the date of that fossil? Okay. What is the geographical distribution or from where it was found? If you can put that who found that, even that is a value addition. And then what were the tools used by that fossil or any, for that matter, if there is a question on archaeological anthropology, you can put what are the tools. You can make diagram of those tools. That is always a value addition. Then some of my friends, they forgot to explain the socio-cultural aspect of that area, means that period of time. That is very important point. So if you're mentioning the socio-cultural, then at the end, some of my friends were saying that in physical anthropology or in socio-cultural, what should be our conclusion? Physical is like factual. So how to conclude? It is not an opinion that what you want. So I would suggest you can put the essence of that fossil, or for that matter any archaeological remain. The essence means by that fossil, how did it help in understanding the evolution of humankind? Means you can end it with writing the essence of that fossil. Okay. So how the subject of anthropology was enriched by this discovery of this fossil or excavation of this fossil. So in that sense, paper 1 I think is covered. In socio-cultural part 2, I told you, you can more and more case studies you are quoting, it will be beneficial. And if you give a personal touch to your answer, in optional particular, in GS also it is required, it will definitely give you more marks. Personal touch means you go beyond the books. While talking to each other, you would be getting some things about some ideas about topics. You can write that thinking, that will give you more marks. So what is left is essay. Essay, I will tell you that some good exam means features of essay are like clarity of expression, good introduction, body and conclusion. I did a blunder at that time. I scored only 76 marks in essay. That was I put 40 minutes into making outline of essay. That was too much. In 2013, when at that time they were asking only one essay. So I planned so much that I could not. Strategy I followed was I gave 15 minutes per essay to make outline, and I made outline of both essays at the beginning itself. That I did because in mocks I was doing first, I was making outline for 15 minutes and then writing first, and then making outline of second and third, and then writing it. And I found consistently in all my mock essays I was scoring very good in essay first, but I was scoring very badly in essay in second portion. I realized it is only because when I am middle of writing I was under pressure, maybe I was not able to properly outline, or I was under maybe some pressure that time is less or something. So I found this very encouraging. I got 154 marks in essay. So this time you can do this, or it's your choice. So you can, first thing is that take 5 minutes to understand the topic of essay. That is the crux. And then while making outline, again and again look at the topic, what it requires. Mostly essay is opinion based, and after analyzing the essay topic you must be clear that what is your stand. That is one very important thing, because if you do not think what is your stand, you will lose in between and you will be confused, and the examiner will be very easily he will understand that you are confused. So first, regarding, for example, I wrote that gender development essay, that if development is not endangered, it is one. And the second was that cyberspace and internet change in civilization. There anthropology helped me, because I was able to relate that how civilization developed and at what stage of civilization we are. So first understand it, give it a personal touch, use very simple language, and if you are losing any point, don't worry about it, just focus on the flow. Means like you would have read article in Indian Express, some articles, that language is good for essay. If you will read, I just give you example, if you read central article of The Hindu, you will be frustrated if you are not an expert or you are in your third, fourth attempt. For a beginner, you would have appreciated this Hindu article. There are so big, bombastic words that you need to go back to first paragraph to understand what he was asking, what he was saying. So means that writing style that matters in essay. One of my friends, he told me that your essay should be such that a teacher who is teaching 11th, 10th, 11th class or even 10th class, he should be able to appreciate what you are saying, because it's somewhere it is reflection of your personality. At the same time, it checks your literary skills, I think. So if you are using very simple language, you are able to express yourself what you want to say, and it's like a movie. So with a proper brilliant introduction, and then whatever arguments you are making, always present both sides of the story. Even before, you know that you have a stance, you will take it, but do not only explain that, you see. And what is your stance, you put it in the second part. That I also learned from here also. For example, you have to take that regarding rehabilitation policy of India, maybe rehabilitation and resettlement policy of India, if they ask. So if your stance is that it's not well, means there is a lot of things to be done in this, then you cannot directly say that it's a failure. You cannot start like land rehabilitation policy or tribal rehabilitation policy is a failure. It is depicted by this argument. You cannot do this. So it is expected that what is the significance of this rehabilitation policy, how on one hand development is important, on the other hand lives of human beings are important. So then in content you can mention that what is our current rehabilitation policy, how it developed across, means evolutionary perspective, how it developed across the years, and then you see that what were the positive things, or what were the things which were thought to be introduced into it with the help of anthropologists and other advisors. Then in the end you mention something to prove that it is yet means having many problems. Explain those arguments in detail. If your point is that it is yet to be made right, or more and more improvements are required, then you should highlight that what are the problems in this. And finally, whenever while writing in mains, that critically analyze answer, or in essay, or for that matter in GS paper 4, or in interview also, you should, when you are pinpointing some mistakes, you must follow it with your suggestions. Never ever leave something like you have pointed mistakes and now you're done. That person will, examiner will see that it's just you, maybe it's your habit of pointing out mistakes only and you're doing nothing. So after that, always give what are the suggestions. If you have pointed out these are the problems, then solve it right there only. And one more thing, that I used to think that conclusion is only of one paragraph, and I used to abruptly close it. That was also a very bad thing. You should, like in a movie, you should properly close it. After your maybe Cohn's argument or second part, then use 3-4 paragraphs to conclude it. And don't leave your essay until you get an idea that I have properly closed this essay. So these are the few things. I will allow you to ask any questions regarding this. Regarding GS paper 4 also, I would say that I scored 111 marks in 2013, and this year also I scored 114 marks. So they are kind of consistent, not exceptional, but so my strategy, this is the paper where I found that I should share my strategy with you. Some of my friends, they were starting from beginning, and what was the problem, that when they reached up to the case studies, which is one of the most scoring part, they were already under the pressure that they have to somehow complete it because time is less. So what I did was, I first attempted case studies. In a fresh manner, you go and you first properly read those case studies. While reading, you underline what are the information, some input will be given in the case study. Use that input in your decision making. Means your decision has to be based on that case only. You be very objective. That is very important. You do not go as some Mr. This belonging to place X or belonging to this community, or that you are be very objective while reading the case study. So you underline the key inputs, the information which they are giving in the case study. Then you understand your role. In some case studies, you will be supposed to act as DM, CM, SP, in some only as a friend. But one thing I want to point out, never stop being a responsible citizen of India. They will never mention that as a responsible citizen of India what you want to do. But they are expecting you to be responsible citizen of India. You never stop being that. That is one thing. So as a friend, for example, a friend comes to you and he tells you that this is his problem. Now as his responsible friend, what will you suggest to him? This kind of questions will be asked. So in writing answers, my scheme was that first I used to read the case properly, highlight it, understand what are the inputs, and then use then understand what is my role. So writing answers, I used to first contextualize this whole case study in 3-4 lines. In these 3-4 lines, you should put in your own words that what is the problem. Then in second paragraph, I wrote that what is my role, what is expected out of me in this case study. Means as DM, what should I do, what is expected out of me. Then if it depends on questions, like in some questions they will say that create 4 options and then choose one, then you have to create. If they are giving 4 options and they will say that analyze them and choose the best one and explain why did you choose this. So take one part and then second and third. So take first part and analyze it right there only, under that part only. Do not write what was the option. They know it, save some time and space. So put this option 1, merits and demerits. Directly write what are the merits and demerits. And after writing merits and demerits, you will know that you have to choose this option or not. And if you are rejecting it, write there rejected, that this option has these much merits, so this is not acceptable at all if it is outrightly wrong option. And then so let us analyze second. So one thing which I realized in dealing with this paper 4, whatever we are thinking, we should write it. Some of my friends, they were writing very miserly. They knew what they were thinking, but they did not write their thinking. So you write your thinking itself, that why you are not choosing it. If you are rejecting this, why you are rejecting this. And then similarly go to second, third, fourth option. But one more important thing is that at the end, please justify your answer. Means the option which you have chosen, you write some, in conclusion, you justify that why my chosen answer serves this purpose in the best manner. Means solve this problem in the best manner. If you are not justifying it, then it is not a proper closure to your answer, I think. So you justify in the end, and so while doing this, what you have done is you have given this message to the examiner or the checker is that you understood the case well, you understood your role, you have analyzed your options clearly, and you have chosen the one best as per the given inputs, and you have given reason for that. Even if your option is not the best one, he would know that it is not illogically taken. At least this person has given answers, or he will understand your thinking from there only. This is where the ethics is checked, I think. So case studies portion is very important. So first I used to do that, and then in other theoretical aspect, I think you should go through main theorists also, because this time they asked about Mahatma Gandhi's 7 sins. Many of my friends and even I did not know exactly what were those sins. So if there are questions like this, they will check some of your theoretical knowledge which is expected. Otherwise, in all other questions, they will ask, be very genuine, and we are in 20s, we have an experience of at least, means meaningful experience of 12-13 years of experiencing from family. We have some experience in our family, in our school, with our teachers, with our friends. So use those life experiences and your own thinking, and when you're reading newspapers, the daily events, make some kind of opinion on all those events, and based on those you should write those. They will ask what is truth according to you, how truth is important. This time they ask that how you manage your anger. So these are you will not get it from any book. You will just realize that what you have observed over the years, you will write that. And I would like you to be very genuine, because what you really think only you will be able to justify that only. If you have read somebody, Plato said this and Aristotle said this, if I tell you what is honesty according to you, you cannot start question that Plato said honesty is this. Well, he will say, I am not asking to Plato. I am asking what is honesty according to you. So if you want to give some kind of theoretical or some credibility to your answer, you can quote it later on. Means do not start your paragraph with Plato, Aristotle, all that. So first give that, I think honesty is this, I observed it in while. Maybe you can quote any example, or you can quote example from books also, and this newspapers also, like Volkswagen case and other cases are coming where they filed some of their environmental tests, or so this kind of examples. Even from administration you can give examples of administrator doing this. So you give your idea, you justify your idea, and then you can give examples. So I think these all three things can help you to score well. And regarding interview, I shall give you in brief that what they asked me, as I had recently joined as engineer in Jammu and Kashmir Irrigation Department. So the ma'am, Sujata ma'am's board was there. I scored 176 marks, and she directly she started that Zaffar, you are working as engineer in this department. There is some controversy going on regarding big irrigation scheme. What is your opinion on this? Most of my essay, this interview was opinion based. So what is your thinking? Then she said that you are civil engineer. What is your take on interlinking of rivers? Then she said your hobby is football, watching football. So do you watch it on TV only, or have you ever been to any stadium to watch India's any match? So I had been to many stadiums. So she said that what is temperamental difference between a football player and a cricket player? Can we call a football player as gentleman? So this kind of questions. Then she said that regarding your department, there are certain perceptions. So she was expecting me to know perceptions already, because it's public works department. So she said that how will you change those perceptions? She did not mention anything. So after that, the next member, he asked me that why did you choose anthropology? You are a civil engineering graduate. So what made you choose anthropology? Then this is very important, because I am sharing this with you because these were the questions asked from anthropology. So next question was, how will you use the knowledge of anthropology in your future endeavors, like in your administrative field? How will you use? Then tribal development, it's farce. So he said that, what do you think about tribal development? Means our current policy of tribal development, is it okay? So about rehabilitation and resettlement policy they asked, and then about they asked about what kind of homes tribals make, means with bamboo and all that, how they make. Then question was asked that if there has to be change in curriculum of civil engineering, what were the things you would suggest? And then with my name there is a famous player in India, to which sport he belonged, Zaffar Iqbal. So at which position he used to play, so what is his contribution to Indian hockey. Indian hockey declined drastically from 1980 onwards. What were the reasons? How can we improve our performance in hockey? Then questions were asked from how I have used anthropology in my working as civil engineer. So he said that, what is participant observation? How, he asked this, how you have used participant observation in your working in field as a civil engineer. So these, and then finally questions from IR were asked that rise of Donald Trump and its impact on the world order, and rise of protectionism, and automation and job creation in India, on means how it is linked with Make in India and other things. So what is my opinion on automation? Will it definitely, is it a disaster for us because it's going to cut jobs, there will be huge layoffs and all this. So with that, then she said that your interview is over, you can go now. So this was my story of interview also. So I think I have done enough of this stuff. So now you can, if you want some of the things, you can ask. I'm open. Yes.
Hi, Zaffar. If I may, what's your age?
My age?
Yes.
26.
When did you start preparing?
In third year of my college, I I got this orientation that some people, actually at that time, I'm very frank, at that time some of my friends, they were preparing for MNCs, and some were preparing for this placement and that, some were preparing for CAT and IAF, for going for IIM. I did not know much of this stuff. I am from such a background that I did not know about IIT at that time. So at that time, few of our friends from college, we thought that we got an orientation from one of our seniors about civil services. Then we came to Delhi to know that what is it and what subject to take, and then from there we started together, first reading NCRTs through, when we were in college we read NCRTs and all these basic books in college itself. Then we came to Delhi and did this other, at that time there were 2 subjects. So you will be amazed to know that I did coaching for public administration and then sociology, and the year when I am clearing this exam, I cleared it from anthropology. So you never know, it's just a big journey basically. So it has been 4 years. I came to Delhi in 2013. And so
also, you mentioned that you had gone through Chacha committee report, if I am pronouncing it correctly. Did you read the entire report, or did you just go through the summary?
I read the entire report. Yes. But you can skip all those big tables.
Exactly.
Go through entire report, but read only that which you think is relevant. And at the end, those recommendations, there is summary of those recommendations. Before exam, go through that summary. And I must add here that anthropology is such kind of subject you can definitely feel before exam that you know nothing. Especially paper 1. This can happen. It happened with me, and luckily I had read some blog of some seniors also. They said it, so I was fine that okay, I will know. In paper 2, it's opinion based. You can do this. In paper 1, you may definitely feel on that day that what will you write tomorrow? Maybe it's difficult. Don't worry. You know enough by that time that you will be able to handle this. But one thing which is very important is you can make short notes for revision at the end, because it will help. For me, I underlined it from books because I had some paucity of time. For you, I would suggest that you should be able to have some kind of last moment material where it can help you.
You read the report of tribal ministry. There is a report of tribal ministry.
No, I did not go through that, but its summary was given by sir, I think. Summary was given, so I read about only summary about it.
You mentioned that in the optionals you had first selected first and fifth question and given it your best and then moved on. So I haven't attempted mains yet. Is it fixed? Is it not fixed? Like, is it not question is given and then you have to write the answer?
Actually, earlier it was the scheme that you write question 1A, 2, 3, whatever. This time they are giving fixed spaces. Means it's your choice where you want to start. Means there is a question, there is a space. Okay, so you can start from wherever you want, which question you like.
But at the end of it will be evaluated sequentially, right?
That's why I told you to attempt first question in a better manner. The guy he will start from paper question 1. I'm telling you. For example, you know paper, question number 1, but you thought that let us start from question 3 and do it, and at the end you come to question number 1. At that time you will not be able to do justice, or you will not be able to express yourself better. Now the person, while examining your copy, he does not start from paper 3rd, question 3rd, which is your best attempted question maybe. He starts from paper question 1. So the idea he gets from question 1 is that you would be writing maybe haphazardly, not.
I got that one, but what about the fifth question? Fifth question comes in between, right?
No problem. You can choose it for later on only. So this whole idea was about question 1 only.
Right. Also, you mentioned that in your interview they had asked you about football versus cricket, which one of them qualified as a gentleman's game. May I know your answer, please?
Actually, that was a trick question. I did not want to go into details. So she said that, can you call footballers as gentlemen? If I knew that if I will go into explaining it, it will stretch like anything. So I just answered it like, I said, ma'am, with the likes of Maradona, Pele, and Baichung Bhutia and Vijayan, we can definitely not say that. The question was that, can we say that footballers is a rogue man's game, or it's not a gentleman's game? Then I said that with the likes of Maradona, Pele, Vijayan and Bhutia, I think we cannot call it that aggressive a game. We can call that gentleman. So I answered it in that way. I did not explain much.
So they asked you a question about hockey just because your name was Zaffar Iqbal and somebody was.
Yes.
But they asked you many questions. And that was
Yes.
surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising. But I was prepared. See, regarding interview, I want to give you this guidance that your interviews starts from the point when you feel you're deaf. Do not be, means we are at that time we are at the stage of feeling like our CV. We put everything into it. In college we can impress those guys who come for placement. But here I would suggest be very genuine, and every word written in deaf will haunt you later on if it's not properly thought through. So your hobbies, your interests, if you're working somewhere, mentioning your right department, they will ask from every word written in the interview, especially in the summary sheet. They will ask questions. And one more thing, they will not ask only questions regarding, for example, I was civil engineer, so they did not ask what is civil engineering or what are its concepts. Anything going on in newspapers regarding those words written in the DAF, they become your syllabus for interview. So DAF is your syllabus for interview, and the basic thing, look at this, you are deciding the syllabus of your interview. That's why when you feel deaf, if you have some learned friends, ask from them. If you are not sure, ask from teachers, from seniors, that what should be written, what should not be written. Do not ever fake your hobbies just to impress. They will ask such questions you would have never thought. No mock interview went up to that level, that I can assure you. Nobody asked me these questions. It was just for getting preparation, how to ask, how to speak. That's it. Otherwise, you decide for yourself. And especially your states, district. For example, my district was Punch. So every one of my friends were saying that so much is going on in Kashmir, they will definitely ask you on Kashmir. Not a single question was asked. So he knew that, or she knew that this region of Jammu region may be having some other problems. Why to ask those other problems? So questions, I was expecting questions on ceasefire violation and other things. So you can do that.
You were asked that how did you end up with anthropology being a civil engineer? So how did you respond to that?
So basically, with his smile, I knew that what many of my friends, they, especially Ankur, he told me, same question was asked to him. Never ever say this Anthro is scoring. So, because this is, actually anthropology, if you will study it with heart, you will understand that you will not get a better and interesting subject than this. It's basically study about yourself. So you are living and you're not knowing about yourself, your society, your physical, biological aspects, your future, your civilization, your past, your culture. Means we were existing in form of some other person thousands of years before. So there should be a curiosity in you to understand that. So all these things make this subject very, very interesting. So I answered in this way only, that I found it very interesting, and I thought that understanding this subject will help me to develop myself personally also and in my future endeavors also.
While at the start of your anthropology progression, from which part you started study of anthropology? Was it biological anthropology or sociological anthropology?
I started with N.K. Vaids books from here. N.K. Vaids book, because it's a nice introduction to why anthropology. It starts with this, why anthropology. So first I did this, and then B.M. Das, then P. Nath, and then after that, when people suggested me, I did not know all these books. Maybe it was written in Sir's introductory note, but I did not see that. Then so this Majumdar's book, and then this.
Besides of these syllabus, what are the areas you cover before going for the interview? Other areas?
See, when you're preparing your DAF, prepare it very thoroughly, and take, for example, start from your date of birth also. Some people were, one of my friends, he was born on the same day on which was Martyrs' Day. So he was asked question, he was from Kashmir. So he was asked that if Kashmir gets independence, will those persons who are on other side of the story today, will they be called martyrs or not? Or shall we call them martyrs or not? Or see. So how can you imagine how they created this question? It was based on the sometimes on date of birth, sometimes on the day when you are giving interview. Even that day is very important. So maybe it's Father's Day, they will ask about it. Maybe it's Mother's Day, maybe it's Environment Day. So be open. Means it is open. You go through the DAF, and one thing I tell you, finally when you are going to interview, always remember this. This is a personality test. If you don't know anything, they will check that how will you handle. Some will say, sir, I don't know, be very apologetic. Even that's not good. You say politely that I do not know, with a thinking in the mind that I am not expected to know all these things. Some things we don't know. It is very easy. But you say politely that, sir, I do not know. And some things which are which are your foundation of your life, like your biodata, you cannot say I don't know. There it will be a blunder. If you say that you are belonging to a district and you do not know one of the only thing for which your district is known for, then it's a blunder. That means you have not prepared well. So I would suggest that you prepare your DAF well. After that, if they are asking something which you know that you are not expected to know this particular aspect, you can definitely say that, sir or ma'am, I do not know. Or if they are asking you from something with your background, like engineering, you know that what they are asking, but you do not know the answer, then the better option is to say that, ma'am or sir, sorry, I am not able to recollect it. Then she will say that, guess. Then you are allowed to guess. I guessed also many questions, but for that you need to first ask for. They must know that you are guessing this. Otherwise, if you give guess as an answer, then it will be a blunder.
But I never expected that you will be that intelligent to ask that kind of questions. But don't worry about the interview. One thing that he said, and be sure about, that before your prelims or mains or interview, 2 to 3 days, just relax. Very commonly I tell the students that prepare under stress, so that at the time of exam you can be relaxed. He expressed in the same sentiments. I wish all of you thank him. On my side also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.